The Lord be with you. Corrie ten Boom's father was being pursued by German authorities for housing Jews, which was a punishable crime under Hitler's regime. He had to hurry away from his home one night after packing his bag for a long trip to hide away. At the train station, in the middle of a highly tense moment, little Corrie wanted her father's attention. She wasn't sure when he would be back, and she just had to ask him a question. "Dad, I have a question for you," she said. "Okay, Corrie, but please hurry. The train is coming," said Dad. "Well, I want you to tell me about the facts of life before you leave us," she blurted out. Corrie's father was stunned. He knelt down by his little girl. "Child, I first want you to do something for me. I want you to pick up my baggage for the trip," replied Mr. ten Boom. Corrie tried hard to lift the bag, but could not. Then she said, "Daddy, I am just a little girl. That bag is too heavy for me to carry." Her father put her arm around his little girl and said, "Corrie, the question you asked me is also too heavy for you to carry right now. When the time is right, your father will tell you." Sometimes we ask God some heavy questions, very heavy questions, and we never seem to get the answer we want, or any answer at all. That happened to me in one appointment where I could do nothing right. No matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, someone was against it. I invited the children's choir to sing on Mother's Day. Someone accused me of using them to get a bigger offering on a special Sunday. I thought that having our children sing might be a wonderful gift for some of our moms. Evidently, I was wrong. There are many other examples. My stress level was going through the roof. It was at that church that I began having heart issues. I tried everything I could think of to bring people to the church, to make things right, to do things right. But if I visited people at home, I was just snooping. If I visited with them at the church, I was being lazy because I wasn't visiting them at home. I couldn't do anything right. And I prayed more fervently than ever before. "Lord, help me." God's voice was silent. "Jesus, I'm listening. What are you trying to teach me?" God's voice was silent. I kept praying, but for 3 years I heard nothing from God on the subject. It was a spiritual struggle and a bewildering one for me. Why aren't you answering me, God? You have my full attention. How can I glorify you in this? What would you have me do? Silence. I questioned my call to ministry. Was I ineffective as a pastor? Was this God's way of encouraging me to choose a different vocation? We moved to a very different church. At this new church, I could do no wrong. I could have read the phone book as the sermon, and the people there would have rejoiced in the message that Sunday. Do you see what was happening? God was preparing me at that first church to serve at the second church. The lesson God was teaching me was for the future, not for my present. If I could do nothing right, it wasn't me. But if I could do nothing wrong, it wasn't me either. That is just one of the things God was teaching me. God knew I needed to know that. Not for where I was, but for where I was going to be. Now, when God is silent, I have learned to ask a very important question. What does God know that I don't? I have learned that one day, when the time is right, my Father in heaven will help me understand. Yes, we do ask God some very heavy questions. Just know this, when God is silent, it does not mean that God is not listening, not caring, not loving you, or too busy answering the prayers of others to answer yours. Maybe God knows something that you don't, that the answer is too heavy for you to carry right now. Maybe God is preparing you, not for today, but for tomorrow. When God is silent, stay faithful. Keep trusting, for God's timing is perfect. God's love is still upon you, and God's presence remains with you. Those are the facts of life with God. Amen.